The fluorescent lights of Brookfield Grocery flickered faintly overhead as the evening rush began to fade. The aisles were quiet except for the faint hum of a refrigerator and the shuffle of weary shoppers pushing carts filled with end-of-day necessities. Liam Carter, a 32-year-old single father, maneuvered his cart through the baby products aisle, his hands rough and calloused from long hours at the local auto shop. His blue flannel shirt smelled faintly of motor oil, and his eyes, tired but kind, softened as he studied the different brands of formula, trying to stretch every dollar he had left. Money was tight, but he always made sure his 5-year-old daughter, Mia, never went to bed hungry. Just as he reached for a small box of diapers on sale, a piercing cry echoed from the next aisle. It was the unmistakable wail of a distressed child, sharp, panicked, and heart-wrenching. Shoppers turned their heads, some frowning, others muttering under their breath about irresponsible parents. Liam frowned and followed the sound, curiosity and empathy guiding him. As he turned the corner, he saw her. A woman stood in the middle of the aisle, her face flushed with frustration and embarrassment, cradling a squirming toddler who was red-faced and screaming uncontrollably. She was elegant, almost out of place in the small-town grocery store, her beige wool coat neatly buttoned, her heels far too expensive for the cracked tile floor. Her dark hair framed her face in soft waves, but her eyes revealed exhaustion, confusion, and a hint of helplessness. For a brief moment, Liam hesitated. It wasn't his place. But when the woman's lip trembled and she whispered, "Please, sweetheart, stop crying," his heart tugged. He approached slowly, his tone gentle. "Mind if I try something?" he asked, not wanting to startle her. The woman blinked, startled by his sudden presence. I don't know what's wrong," she said softly, trying to bounce the child in her arms. "He's fed, changed, and I even gave him his favorite toy, but he won't stop crying." Liam smiled faintly, kneeling so he was eye level with the child. "Hey there, little guy," he murmured. "You tired of all these bright lights and loud noises?" He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, wooden toy car, its paint chipped and edges worn smooth from years of being held by small fingers. "My little girl used to love this when she was his age." The boy's tearful eyes focused on the toy, curiosity replacing distress. He reached out with tiny hands and grasped it. The crying slowed to a soft whimper, then stopped completely. The aisle fell silent. The woman blinked in disbelief. "How did you?" she began, her voice trembling between relief and amazement. Liam shrugged, standing up and offering her a reassuring smile. "Kids don't always need something new. Sometimes, they just want comfort. Something simple." She looked at him like he had just performed a miracle. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I didn't know what else to do." He nodded gently. "You're doing fine, ma'am. Don't let anyone make you think otherwise." He tipped his head, gave a small wave to the boy, who was now giggling at his new toy, and walked away. As she watched him disappear into the next aisle, Elena Davenport, one of the city's youngest billionaires, felt something unexpected stir inside her, admiration, and a strange sense of humility. The man who just calmed her son was no one of power or wealth. He was an ordinary man, probably struggling to make ends meet. Yet, in a few simple words, he had given her something no one else had in years, real understanding. And as the soft click of his boots faded, she couldn't help but wonder who he was. The next morning began like any other for Liam Carter, early, cold, and heavy with responsibility. Dawn's pale light crept through the blinds of his small, two-bedroom apartment, landing softly on a stack of unpaid bills scattered across the kitchen table. The aroma of instant coffee filled the air as Liam packed a small lunchbox for Mia, his 5-year-old daughter, who sat on the counter swinging her legs, humming a tune from her favorite cartoon. "Daddy, you forgot the apple slices again," she giggled, holding up a small red apple from the fruit bowl. Liam smiled faintly, cutting it into pieces. "Good catch, sweetheart. Can't have you tattling on me to your teacher again." Moments like these, simple, warm, fleeting, were what kept him going. He didn't have much, but he had Mia, and that was enough to face another long day at Miller's Auto Repair, the small-town shop that paid just enough to keep the lights on. Across the city, Elena Davenport sat in her corner office at Davenport Holdings, the towering glass building that reflected the skyline like a mirror. Her assistant, Chloe, rattled off figures and projections for an upcoming acquisition, but Elena's mind was elsewhere, on the man from the grocery store. She had never been able to stop thinking about the way he spoke, how calm and kind he'd been amid chaos. No one had talked to her like that in years. Most people either feared her or wanted something from her. But him? He hadn't even asked her name. He just helped. That kind of sincerity was rare in her world. Later that evening, fate intervened again. Elena had left her office late, eager to get home to her son, Noah, and spend time with him before bedtime. But halfway down the quiet suburban road that led to her gated estate, her sleek black SUV sputtered, coughed, and rolled to a stop on the shoulder. "You've got to be kidding me," she muttered, checking her phone, no signal. She was stranded in the middle of nowhere with no mechanic, no driver, and no clue how to fix a car. A pair of headlights approached from behind, cutting through the dim light. A pickup truck pulled over, and a familiar figure stepped out, wiping his hands on a rag. "Need a hand?" he called. Her heart skipped. "You again," she said, recognizing the same kind eyes from the grocery store. He grinned. "Guess I'm your unofficial backup plan." Liam opened her hood, inspecting the engine with practiced ease. "You've got a busted belt," he explained, his voice calm and sure. "Not a big deal. I can patch it up enough to get you home." As he worked, Elena watched him, his focus, his patience, his humility. When he finished, she reached for her wallet. "Please, let me pay you," she insisted. Liam shook his head. "Don't worry about it. You've got a little one to take care of. Save your money for him." Her chest tightened. "You don't even know who I am." He shrugged. "Doesn't matter. You looked like you needed help." As he closed the hood and stepped back, Elena felt something shift within her. For the first time in a long while, she wasn't Elena Davenport, the billionaire executive. She was just a woman, one who'd been seen for who she truly was. And as Liam drove away, she couldn't help but whisper to herself, "Who are you, really?" Days turned into weeks, but Elena Davenport couldn't shake the memory of the man who had helped her twice, once in a grocery store and again on a lonely road. His face, his words, the calm sincerity in his eyes, they lingered in her thoughts long after their encounters. One afternoon, she found herself driving past Miller's Auto Repair, the small, worn-down shop with its peeling sign and cracked windows. She hesitated for a moment, then pulled over. Maybe her car needed a checkup. Or maybe, deep down, she just wanted to see him again. When Liam Carter stepped out, wiping his hands on a grease-stained rag, surprise flickered across his face, followed by a polite smile. "Well, if it isn't the lady with the fancy car," he said with a teasing warmth. "Car giving you trouble again?" She smiled awkwardly, tucking a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "It's making a strange sound," she said, though they both knew it probably wasn't. He chuckled softly. "Let's take a look." While Liam worked, Elena wandered around the shop, watching him move with quiet focus. His workspace was cluttered but neat in its own way, old tools, family photos, and drawings made by a child taped to the walls. One picture caught her attention, a crayon drawing of a smiling man and a little girl holding hands under a big sun, labeled asterisk, "Me and Daddy." Asterisk, the warmth of it made her heart ache. "Your daughter?" she asked softly when Liam noticed her looking. He nodded, pride lighting his eyes. "Yeah. Mia. She's 5. Smart as a whip and full of sass. Keeps me grounded." Elena smiled, touched by the affection in his voice. "She's lucky to have you." He wiped his hands and glanced at her. "Nah, I'm the lucky one. She's the reason I get up every morning." A few days later, Elena returned. This time with a purpose. She brought coffee and muffins under the pretense of thanking him properly. Mia was at the shop that day, playing with chalk on the pavement, her curls bouncing as she laughed. "You color better than my son," Elena said with a gentle laugh. "You have a son?" Mia asked eagerly. "What's his name?" "Noah," Elena replied, smiling at the thought of her little boy. "He's about your age." That afternoon, the two children met at a nearby park after Liam's shift, and for the first time, Elena saw Noah laugh freely. He wasn't clinging to his nanny or hiding behind her legs, he was running, smiling, and being a child. As the sun began to set, Elena sat beside Liam on a park bench, watching their kids chase each other through the grass. "I never really learned how to be a mom," she confessed quietly. "I had help, but not love. I didn't realize how much that mattered." Liam looked at her, his voice steady. "You don't have to be perfect. Just present. Kids don't remember the money, they remember the moments." His words sank deep into her heart. That night, as she tucked Noah into bed, Elena finally understood what had been missing all along. It wasn't wealth, or success, or control, it was connection. And somehow, a humble mechanic had shown her what love really looked like. The next few weeks passed in a quiet, comforting rhythm that neither Liam Carter nor Elena Davenport had expected. Their lives, once so different, began to overlap in the most natural ways: shared lunches at the auto shop, evening trips to the park, and laughter echoing across the playground as Mia and Noah became inseparable. Elena often brought homemade meals for Liam, claiming she had cooked too much, though both of them knew it was an excuse to spend more time together. The connection between them deepened, not with grand gestures, but through simple, sincere moments. Liam, with his humble wisdom, and Elena, with her quiet grace, found themselves drawn toward something they hadn't dared to hope for in years: peace. But beneath Elena's growing happiness was a lingering fear, the secret she'd been hiding from the start. She knew it was only a matter of time before Liam discovered who she truly was, and the thought terrified her. That truth came crashing down one crisp Friday afternoon. The small TV in Miller's Auto Repair was always tuned to the local news, and as Liam tightened a bolt beneath a car, he heard the anchor's voice mention a familiar name. Local philanthropist and CEO Elena Davenport donates $5 million to children's hospitals nationwide. Liam froze. He slid out from under the vehicle, wiping his hands, and looked at the screen. There she was, Elena, in a tailored suit, smiling for the cameras. His chest tightened as reality sank in. She wasn't just some struggling single mom. She was a billionaire. The woman who'd been visiting his shop, laughing with Mia, sharing stories of parenthood, had hidden her identity all along. That evening, when Elena arrived with 2 cups of coffee, her heart light with anticipation, she immediately sensed something was wrong. Liam stood outside the shop, arms folded, his face unreadable. "So," he said quietly, "you're that Elena Davenport." The warmth in his voice was gone. She swallowed hard. "I wanted to tell you," she began, her voice trembling. "But every time I tried, I couldn't. You looked at me like a person, Liam. Not a headline. I didn't want to lose that." He looked down, silent for a long moment, the weight of his disappointment heavy in the air. "Guess that explains the car," he murmured. Elena stepped closer, her eyes glistening. "It doesn't change who I am, not with you, not with the kids. You and Mia showed me something I'd forgotten, what real family feels like." Just then, Mia ran out from behind the shop, holding a small bouquet of daisies. "Miss Elena. These are for you," she said brightly. Elena knelt, accepting them with a trembling smile. "Thank you, sweetheart," she whispered. Liam's gaze softened as he watched them. He realized then that beneath the wealth and fame, Elena was just a mother trying to love her child the best she could. In the weeks that followed, their friendship slowly mended. Elena quietly invested in the shop, ensuring it thrived, though Liam only learned later. And on one golden evening, as Mia and Noah chased fireflies in the yard, Elena turned to Liam and said softly, "You once told me kids don't remember the money, they remember the moments. You were right. This is the moment I'll never forget." Liam smiled, reaching for her hand. "Me neither." And in that simple touch, between grease-stained fingers and manicured grace, they found something richer than any fortune, love built on honesty, compassion, and second chances.